Hello, welcome to the Banking Awareness Bulletin. Today we are going to see part 4 of the banking awareness. So earlier we have seen 1, 2 and 3. So those who haven't seen 1, 2 and 3 videos, no issue, we can continue with this video. So we are having banking awareness concepts in the form of MCQs. So MCQs of previous year question papers and most repeated and important ones will be discussed here. And the concepts related to it, which are important if any, will also be discussed. So who haven't watched 1, 2, 3, please also watch them. So let's get into what can be the maximum limit of CRR for a commercial bank to maintain cash with RBI. 40%. So what is the maximum limit of cash reserve ratio that is to be maintained? For a commercial bank with RBI, Reserve Bank of India, it is 40%. The maximum limit is 40%. So CRR is a cash reserve ratio that is to be maintained by the banks in the RBI in the form of cash. So what is the present CRR? The current CRR cash reserve ratio is 4% and the current SLR statutory liquidity ratio is 19.5%. The current repo rate is 6.25% and the reverse repo rate is 6%. So the data is as on 30th of November 2018. In which city the Bank of International Settlements is located? The Bank for International Settlements is located in Basel, Switzerland. Basel is a city in Switzerland. So the head office is located in Switzerland. Bank for International Settlements, it is established on 17th May 1930. Bank for International Settlements, it has 2 representative offices. One in Hong Kong, that is Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, and the other is in Mexico City. Bank for International Settlements, this is the oldest world's international financial organization. It has 60 member central banks. So central banks of the countries are the members of this bank. So they represent countries from all around the world. The central bank countries which are members of Bank for International Settlement, they account for about 95% of the world GDP. So what is the mission behind setting up this Bank for International Settlements? The Bank for International Settlements, it is to serve all the member central banks in their monetary and financial stability and to maintain international cooperation between the central banks and to advise them on the changing trends. It also provides a forum for the discussion and facilitates for the collaboration among central banks. It also supports dialogue with other authorities that are responsible for promoting financial stability, for example, IMF, World Bank, etc. Which of the following is the name of the organization specifically to develop small-scale industrial sector in our country? SIDBI. SIDBI means Small Industries Development Bank of India. So this is not to be confused with NABARD. NABARD is specially for promoting the agriculture sector, whereas SIDBI is for developing small-scale industries in the industrial sector. Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI, it was set up on April 2nd, 1990 under an Act of Indian Parliament. So it has its head office in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. It was set up to promote finance and to develop MSME sector. MSME sector means we know it is micro, small and medium enterprises, and for coordinating the functions of the institutions who are engaged in the similar activities of promoting the MSME sector. So what is the mission of SIDBI? The mission of SIDBI is financing, promoting, developing and coordinating small scale industries. The difference between the total cost of a project and the sanctioned loan amount is termed as. The difference between the total cost of a project and the sanctioned loan amount is termed as margin amount. So total 100 rupees if it is the cost and total sanction amount is 90 for example. The difference is called as margin amount, which is to be bared by the customer. Which of the following sectors makes maximum contribution to national income of India? Service sector. Service sector makes the maximum contribution to national income of India. KYC guidelines followed by the banks have been framed on the recommendations of Reserve Bank of India. KYC guidelines which were followed by the banks have been framed on the recommendations of Reserve Bank of India. Know your customer 2002 norms we have already discussed in the last video. Which of the following is a financial ratio that gives a measure of the company's ability to meet its financial losses? Leverage ratio. So leverage ratio, it is the financial ratio which gives a measure of company's ability to meet its financial losses. What is the institution which accepts deposits, makes business loans and related services called? Commercial bank. In which of the public sector bank government decided to take a move to lower its stake below 51% recently? IDBI bank. So in the IDBI bank, government decided to take a move to lower its stake below 51%. So earlier it had a share above 51% government. So now it decreased less than 51%. Name the mobile app started by SBI to stop the debit card details, whereby the customer can activate or deactivate its debit card by just sending an SMS. It is SBI Quick. Through the application named SBI Quick, State Bank of India has started debit card service. So customer can just send an SMS and he can activate or deactivate his debit card. Banking industry has been declared as public utility service for the purpose of. Banking industry has been declared as public utility service for the purpose under Industrial Disputes Act. Under Industrial Disputes Act, banking industry has been declared as public utility service, which refers to the market for government and semi-government securities backed by the RBI. So what is the market called where the government and semi-government securities marked by RBI introduced? Gilt-edged market. It is called as gilt-edged market. Gilt-edged securities, these are high-grade bonds which are issued by some national governments and private organizations. A gilt edge. What does this gilt edge means? A gilt edge means it denotes high quality item, so whose value remains fairly constant over time. So as an investment vehicle, this equates to a high grade security and low yields are obtained. So compared to risky below investment grade securities, this is very good, but the returns are very less. So the risk is very less, returns are also very less. So because of this, only the blue chip companies, well-known companies and governments, national governments, they only have a track record of operating in a safe and profitable manner, issuing the gilt-edged securities. So because of this, only the national governments and some very few companies, they are only known for trading these gilt-edged securities. The Imperial Bank of India was renamed as State Bank of India. In 1955, the Government of India and the country's central bank, Reserve Bank of India, they assumed joint ownership of Imperial Bank of India. It was then known as IBI, Imperial Bank of India. Then it was renamed as State Bank of India, SBI. Who is the largest stakeholder in the National Securities Depository Limited? IDBI Bank. National Securities Depository Limited, NSDL. This is an Indian Central Securities Depository. This is based in Mumbai. It was established on 8th November 1996. It is the first electronic securities deposit in India with national coverage. So it was established on the suggestion by a national institution responsible for the economic development of India. NSDL is promoted by IDBI, Industrial Development Bank of India, the largest development bank of India, and also UTI, Unit Trust of India, and NSE, National Stock Exchange of India Limited, which is the largest stock exchange of India. In this depository system, securities are held in depository accounts, which are very much similar to holding funds in bank accounts. So the transfer of ownership of these securities is done through simple account transfers like we do money here. So that is National Securities Depository Limited. So this method, it does away with all the risk and hassles and normally associated with the paperwork. It avoids everything. Consequently, the cost of transaction in a depository environment is considerably lower as compared to transacting in certificates. So in August 2009, the number of demat accounts in NSDL has crossed 1 crore. Where is the headquarter of Insurance Regulatory Development Authority? The headquarters of Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority is in Hyderabad. Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, it is a statutory body and an autonomous body. This is tasked with regulating and promoting the insurance as well as reinsurance industries in India. So it was constituted by Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority Act 1999, an act of parliament which is passed by Government of India. The agency's headquarters are in Hyderabad, Telangana. IRDAI, it is a 10-member body including chairman and 5 full-time and 4 part-time members will be there who are appointed by Government of India. The Nofrill Accounts facility provided by the banks is aimed at which of the following categories of people? Poor people. The Nofrill Accounts means zero balance accounts. They are opened for poor people. It is aimed at opening bank accounts for poor people. What is the percentage of total deposits of a bank which it has to keep itself in the form of liquid assets? Statutory liquidity ratio, it is the total deposits of a bank which it has to keep as liquid assets. So the banks are required, especially the commercial banks, they are required to maintain SLR in India in the form of cash, gold reserves or government approved securities. So that ratio we call it as SLR ratio. So what is the present SLR? It is 19.5%. The present SLR is 19.5%. Monetary policy of RBI does not include. The monetary policy of RBI does not include which of the following? It does not include reduction of taxes. So monetary policy includes the control and supply of money, likewise fixation of rate of interest, fixation of repo and reverse repo rate, fixation of cash, all these it will include, but reduction of taxes is what is not present in the monetary policy of RBI. So what is a monetary policy? This is a policy by which a desired level of money flow and its demand is maintained and it is regulated by RBI. This is known as monetary policy. So monetary policy is maintained in the country through some actions like increasing the interest rate or changing the amount of money in the banks need to keep in the vault. So we say it as bank reserves. So what are the main objectives of monetary policy? So to maintain the price stability in the country, to ensure flow of credit in the productive sectors and arrangement of full employment and expansion of credit facility, equality and justice, stability in exchange rate, promotion of fixed deposits, etc. RBI, it uses monetary policy to control open market operations, liquid adjustment facility, bank rates, to maintain cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, repo rate and then reverse repo rate. So it uses monetary policy to control all of these. Which among the following is short-term borrowings for any firm? Sundry creditors. The term sundry usually refers to small or infrequent creditors that are not assigned individual ledger accounts but they are classified as a group. So sundry debtors are such small entities that owe the company money. So small entities that the company owes money to are called as sundry creditors. Customer day in the bank is on, and customers are allowed to meet the top officials of the bank on this day in every month. When is this day observed every month? It is on 15th of every month. 15th of every month, the customers are allowed to meet the top officials so that they can address any grievances and communicate with the customers. The returned non-resident Indians are permitted to open accounts in the following categories. RFC account. RFC accounts are bank accounts that can be maintained by resident Indians in foreign currency. So RFC means resident foreign currency. These RFC accounts can be maintained by resident Indians in foreign currency. A collection of non-banking financial intermediaries that provide services similar to traditional commercial banks is known as shadow banking system. So a collection of non-banking financial intermediaries that provide services which are very much similar to commercial banks is known as shadow banking system. Shadow banking system, it is a term for the collection of non-banking financial intermediaries that provide services similar to traditional commercial banks but outside normal banking regulations. So shadow banking, it is comprised of diverse set of institutions and markets that collectively carry out traditional banking functions but do so outside or in ways only loosely linked to the traditional system of regulated depository institutions. Shadow banking has grown in importance to rival traditional depository banking and was a primary factor of mortgage crisis which has happened in 2007-2008 throughout the world. New and reissuable currency notes are stored in, which are maintained by banks as agents of RBI. Currency chest. New and reusable currency notes are stored in Reserve Bank of India currency chest. So RBI maintains currency throughout the country. So in an area, say for example, it is SBI, which is influential bank there, or say it was the first bank that was set up. So if it is having a larger market, so SBI will manage a currency chest in its premises for RBI. So in some other place it can be Andhra Bank, in some other place it can be Indian Bank. So it is generally public sector banks only. So these banks only, they maintain currency chests and they work as agents of RBI in that area. So they are answerable to RBI. Which of the following is the purpose of introducing Know Your Customer norms by the banks? To ensure that money deposited in banks has come from genuine sources. So to ensure this one, Know Your Customer norms were introduced. So the money which is deposited in the banks should come from genuine sources of income. So for this, in 2002, Pamla Act, Prevention of Money Laundering Act was introduced and KYC norms were introduced. Know Your Customer norms were introduced. So this is specially to curtail money laundering, to stop hawala transactions, and to ensure that money is not used for anti-socialistic activities or terrorist activities, etc. What is a program that is aimed at promoting entrepreneurship among women and scheduled castes and tribes? The Stand Up India is aimed at promoting entrepreneurship among women and scheduled castes and tribes. The bank loans under scheme shall be referenced to. The bank loans under this scheme shall be referenced to SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India. Small Industries Development Bank of India. Which of the following is the most liquid money? M1. M1 is the most liquid money. What is M1? M1 is the money supply that includes physical currency and coins, demand deposits, travelers' checks and other checkable deposits if any, and negotiable order of withdrawals. So all these, they come under M1. The most liquid portions of money supply are measured by M1. So what is money supply means? They'll measure in terms of this one. So what is the physical currency? How much currency is there? How many coins are there? How many demand deposits are there? And how many negotiable instruments which withdraw amount are present is called as M1 money. So the most liquid money is M1. SHCIL was established in 1986 under the Government of India as Public Limited. What is SHCIL? SHCIL is Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited. Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited is India's largest custodian and depository participant based in Mumbai, Maharashtra. So SHCIL, Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited, it was established in 1986. It is subsidiary of IFCI. So what does this do? It is an online trading portal with investors and traders, and it is responsible for e-stamping system that is followed in the country. It is also authorized by RBI as agency bank to distribute and receive Government of India savings or relief bonds. According to RBI guidelines, the term bulk deposit is used for single rupee term deposit of. So which deposit does bulk deposit with respect to RBI refer to? It is 1 crore and above. It is 1 crore and above. What is the term bancassurance means? The term bancassurance means selling of insurance products by banks. The term bancassurance means selling of insurance products by banks. Which is the authority in India for effecting changes in the cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio? It is RBI, well known. The currency notes issued by Reserve Bank of India are under the signature of Governor of RBI. The currency notes issued by Reserve Bank of India are under the signature of Governor of RBI. That's all for today. See you in another bulletin. Thank you.